to kick off the pay-per-view against Neil Magny. All right, with that backdrop, here is your tail of the tape for this welterweight fight. Condit 33 years old, Magny 30. Magny taller by an inch. He will have a 4.5-inch reach advantage. Number 8 versus number 12 in the UFC welterweight division. To get us started with the introductions, inside the octagon to Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live from Las Vegas at the T-Mobile Arena for UFC 219, Cyborg versus Home. And now, this fight is 3 rounds in the UFC welterweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a mixed martial artist holding a professional record, 19 wins, 7 losses. He stands 6 feet 3 inches tall, weighing in at 170.5 pounds. Fighting out of Denver, Colorado, Neil Magny. And now introducing his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, a mixed martial artist holding a professional record, 30 wins, 10 losses. He stands 6 feet 2 inches tall, weighing in at 170.5 pounds. Fighting out of Albuquerque, New Mexico, he is the former WEC welterweight champion and the former interim UFC welterweight champion and the number 8 ranked welterweight contender in the world, the natural born killer, Carlos Condit. When the action begins, our referee in charge, Big John McCarthy.
John McCarthy, our referee for this one. UFC 219 Cyborg versus Home is presented in high definition by the Netflix film Bright, starring Will Smith and Joel Edgerton, now streaming only on Netflix. Tonight's fight clock is brought to you by Air Asia. Now everyone can fly. Carlos Condit is in black. Neil Magny is in blue. Condit was careful after the Damian Maia fight to not call it a retirement. Idle for 16 months. But wasn't making any promises beyond tonight. He wanted to see how it would go against a legitimate welterweight test here in Neil Magny.
I just think he had been to a point in his career where he had fought so often and so many fighters. Down to the ground here, looking for the leg. Carlos wrapping up the left leg of Magny.
I mean, that's what I mean, Joe. He's just always going for grabbing something. He's never just on his back waiting for you. He's doing something with everything he gets. Right now, he's just making it tricky for Neil. Nothing much is going on.
Yeah, he doesn't have his arm around the ankle. He's not committing to that left leg.
He's not taking damage either.
Right, but he's also putting Neil in a position where he realizes, okay, now full guard.
Head out to your neighborhood 7-Eleven and get a UFC branded Big Gulp for a chance to instantly win prizes.
Hands on the biceps, Neil. Good.
Condit back to his feet. Magny with one underhook here, continuing to apply pressure.
Magny's a takedown here. Magny's all over him here. Magny's trying to drag Carlos to the ground now, and Carlos defends.
The one thing we could say bad about Carlos Condit is that sometimes he gets taken down and out-grappled. If he can't submit you from his back, he tends to lose decisions just staying on his back at times. And that's one way Neil Magny can win a decision or really do some damage to Carlos. Keep taking him down over and over, stay in this close proximity range, just in the pocket, and just stay grappling with Carlos Condit the whole fight and stay out of submissions, and then he can win a decision that way. Carlos Condit needs to worry about staying at space, keep digging for these underhooks and not keep getting taken down. He can't keep giving up these takedowns so easily. He's got to make Neil work for him a little.
Coming in, Condit had been taken down in 15 of his 18 UFC and WEC appearances combined.
Watch the elbow on the break.
Two and a half minutes gone by here, round one.
Neil's doing super good at catching anything that Carlos throws and firing back. That keeps Carlos from getting any kind of reads or rhythm.
And it looked like Magny drew a little bit of blood out of that nose of Condit with one of those right hands. Pretty good start for the underdog, Neil Magny.
Yeah, Magny relentless with his pressure here. And one thing you count on with Magny is he will have the same pace for the entire fight. Never gets tired. One of the most impressive aspects of his ability inside the octagon, and you really saw it in the Hector Lombard fight. He was in grave trouble early in that fight, but just through his perseverance, toughness, and his cardio, managed to stop Lombard.
Outpointed Kelvin Gastelum over 5 rounds at altitude in Mexico City. Yeah, you don't have to worry about the Magny gas tank.
I love how Magny's firing back on every single one of Carlos Condit's kicks. I mean, anytime Carlos throws a kick, he tries to catch it or at least fires a punch down the middle. Anytime Carlos does anything, you've got to do that to keep Carlos guessing. And now you see Carlos isn't throwing his kicks the same. He's thinking about it. And that's why Neil's doing very well right now to keep Condit from getting the reads that he's so good at.
Yeah, he's not giving Carlos any space. And not giving him any space, he doesn't give Carlos enough time to get creative. Yeah, not comfortable.
Agreed. Under a minute now to go, round 1. Condit, a staple of this UFC roster since April 1st of 2009, when he debuted against Martin Kampmann.
Nice combo by Carlos. Neil really, though, is the one that's just been getting off first for the most part.
And how much, Dom, do you attribute this to activity? And Carlos being out for 16 months?
That's a good question. I mean, honestly, Joe, that could be part of it. But I think that can get worked out in practice. I mean, that's my belief. You can work out any amount of time you're gone if you suffer enough in training camp. That's just the way it is. You put the work in, you take out those kinks. Who knows, though? He might have thought he was right, and then you face somebody like Neil and you realize you got more work to do. That's the point. That's what's so tough about what Carlos is doing is there's no right answer to that question.
Nice combination there by Carlos. A left to the body and a right leg kick. The Dutchie. Ooh. Back kick.
So a nice close to the round for the natural-born killer. Tonight's corner cam is brought to you by AirAsia. Now everyone can fly.
Have a seat. Good job. Real deep breath. Nice and relaxed. Give me the ice. Nice and relaxed. We need to stay in our range, right?
Yes, sir.
That's where you're doing best. Everything's working good from your range. All the pick and pull, even the shift, right? Shift to double jab cross as a southpaw. It's there, it's there. Let's slap and then go low kick, okay? Slap and then go low kick. Everything looks good, but we were gonna stay in our range.
That's the key, your range, you understand? Yes, sir.
Your range kick coming from us, Carlos. When you back him up, controlling the guy. Running in the cage, elbows up the middle, all right? He sucks backing up, all right? Don't mean the space. All right. Tricks and feints.
Yeah.
Back his ass up.
Double right hand, baby.
Southpaw, let's go.
Second gear, Lowe's.
On Sunday, January 14th, 2 of the most fan-friendly fighters on the roster take center stage. Jeremy Stephens looking for the 17th knockout of his career against the returning Korean Superboy Do Ho Choi. It is FS1 UFC Fight Night. Stephens versus Choi, special Sunday nighter. January 14th, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, only on FS1. All right, round 2 here, Neil Magny, Carlos Condit. Dom, any major takeaways in either corner after round 1?
Well, I like what both cornermen said. Greg said Carlos needs to be first, basically. Double right hands, get Neil on his heels, and he's right about that. Let's see if he follows up with what Greg said. He's got to be first this round and not let Neil go first. That's basically what happened that whole first round.
Yeah, Neil just put so much pressure on you. Constant movement.
It's the switching stance that's tricky too, because when your opponent's switching like that nonstop, it's hard to get the reads. Again, that's what Carlos needs is reads. And with the way that Neil's switching and pressuring, it's hard to do that.
And to that end, the Magny pressure advancing 40% of the time thus far.
You see Neil, he'll throw a 1-2 from a conventional stance. After the 2, instead of bringing it back to his face, he'll follow through with a jab as a southpaw and then with another 2 as a southpaw. So he's switching stance in the middle of combination, which takes away the counters from Carlos a lot of times. You see Demetrius Johnson do that well as also, and it's a nuance to MMA right now that a lot of fighters are switching stance in the middle of combinations and shifting in that form.
Magny He's got the body locked here. We'll see if he tries to change levels.
Watch the head.
Good. Nice.
Now pull hard on that knee.
You go, you go, you
That
go.
knee's not doing good, Neil.
Left knee, left knee. Knees here.
Hook the knee again.
Good. Keep working here.
Hook and trip.
Anytime somebody's held against the fence, it's because they're losing the underhook battle. And you can see Neil has the underhooks the whole time on Carlos. Now Carlos going for the scramble, trying to create some leg lock attempts here.
Yeah, he's going for this leg, but he's got to be very careful to not get... Okay, I like how he grabbed that right leg as well. Tying the both of these up now. He's got to get Neil off of the base. He doesn't have the leg, though. He's being smart about it. He doesn't want to commit to two-on-one, and leave the opportunity to get punched.
And this is exactly how we've seen Carlos lose in the past. He just gets smothered, basically. Put on the fence. He loses the underhook battle from his back and from the fence, and then gets held down.
Carlos is looking for a Kimura now on the left arm of Magny.
But how much does him committing to the submission game also reason why he gets so many finishes, right, Joe? I mean, he's not standing up, but it's not like he's just sitting on his back either.
Right.
He's attacking.
No, he's trying to win. It's just with guys like Hendricks or big, powerful wrestlers, he hasn't been able to get them off him when he gets to this position.
How about the evolution of MMA? I mean, you think these guys are just so much better at jiu-jitsu now that Carlos might not be getting the same submissions he got earlier?
Well, for sure, Neil Magny's very well trained. He's got Elliot Marshall in his corner. They're all out of Jamal Easton's in Colorado. Fantastic camp.
Touches the body.
Very aggressive here now.
And Jackson said, put him on the fence and throw those elbows, and we saw him attempt it there. Neil doing the right things, pressuring right back with offense to get Carlos off of him.
Under 90 seconds now to go in this second round. Condit slips the head out of harm's way there. Condit with a flurry and a big right.
And now he's got the underhooks here. Let's see if Neil starts winning this underhook war here. You'll see Neil dig a right underhook under the left arm of Carlos. There it is, and that's Carlos losing the underhook war, and then he gets put right back on the fence here. And now he's got double underhooks, and we'll see him get the body lock against Carlos here. Oh, Carlos dug in for the underhook there, and now he's able to switch position. And that's what happens. He loses the underhook battle and then gets taken down here because he goes for the clinch. He needs to stick with the over-under and keep digging and pummeling instead of going to the clinch and losing the underhook battle, getting put on his back.
Well, Neil Magny at his relentless best here tonight. He's attempted nearly 10 takedowns thus far, and he secures that one.
Carlos looking for the armbar here. I do not believe that the left arm is in deep enough, or the right arm rather is in deep enough.
Go hold with the toes, Carlos. There you go.
He's going on to the leg again, but again, can't commit to it for fear of getting punched.
Bye-bye. There you go.
And here we see exactly as Dom predicted, Neil Magny winning the takedown battle here, and Carlos attempting an elbow there, but it sort of caught the back of the shoulder.
Look at me. Deep breath. Whose range? My range. Your range. All the time. Do you understand?
Perfect. Your range and your speed. It's perfect. It's beautiful.
Everything's great. The cage work is excellent, right? Head position, dominate in the clinch. It's a beautiful job. On the ground, just doing what...
Up the middle.
Carlos, we might be down 2 rounds. I need 5 minutes of fury in order to win this thing. Yes, sir. Understand?
Yes, sir. You finish it.
Water?
You got it. You finish it. You not go down. You finish it. Yes.
3, 4, 5 shots. It ties up with you, you get out of there.
Well, the 2018 UFC pay-per-view slate opens January 20th with an unbelievable card in Boston. Heavyweight champ Stipe Miocic looking for a record 3rd straight title defense against Francis Ngannou, fresh off of that devastating knockout of Alistair Overeem. UFC 220. Saturday, January 20th from TD Garden in Boston, 10 in the East, 7 in the West. It is only on pay-per-view. All right, 3rd and final round here between Carlos Condit and Neil Magny. Mike Winklejohn not mincing his words in the corner of Condit. They believe their fighter needs a finish.
I believe he does too.
Yeah. Well, he has finished 28 of his 30 professional wins, so Perhaps Condit can get the offense going here to start this third round.
They gave Greg Jackson, them gave him great advice. They said stay out of the clinch and get out of there. But the problem is he's getting in the clinch because he's losing the underhook work. He needs the underhooks in order to get out of the clinch. And that's where Neil Magny is able to put him on the fence and keep him there and get these takedowns and win each round with takedowns and grappling and his range, as his corner said. So we need to see Carlos Condit make the adjustment if he does get in that clinch and win the underhook war so he doesn't get taken down.
Seven times Neil Magny has won a fight in the UFC as a betting underdog, trying to make it 8 here tonight. 1 minute gone by round 3.
And see, something that Carlos loves is throwing that leg kick and then stemming his combinations off of it. Well, Neil Magny's firing something off of every single leg kick Carlos throws, so he's losing his flow, he's losing his combination rhythm that he likes. And so he's having a tough time hitting on Neil Magny.
Yeah, and he's caught that leg kick on several occasions. Good check there by Carlos. I mean, whether it's Neil Magny's pressure or whether it's Carlos's octagon rust, Carlos just seems off on his feet. Just doesn't seem like he's got his timing right, like right there.
It's all range, Joe, like the Neil Magny's corners were saying, is keep it at your range and you win. And right now they're doing exactly that.
The interesting thing is the range is not much different. It's not like Neil's got a gigantic
This
reach
is the
advantage.
range they want.
Yeah.
This is the range that they're talking about, in the pocket.
Especially after the success of the second round with this.
Definitely.
Carlos is trying to separate those hands, but standing up really tall as well. Oh, he's committing to this arm. He's committing to that left arm.
That's in. I mean, that's tight. And if Neil doesn't make a good choice,
it's over already.
And now he's good. He got out of there in time. And listen to those corners in Carlos. Now we got an open flow fight, and that gives Carlos a chance to still be in it.
Right hand by Magny.
And that's combinations. That's the good thing about combinations. You throw one at a time, it's easy to defend. But Neil Magny's throwing combinations, high-low with kicks, takedowns. He's mixing it up so well.
And he's evading very well, too.
He hasn't taken very much damage at all. Seeing everything that Carlos is throwing right now. And you see how Carlos starts with the leg kick? That's his flow. He starts the leg kick. Just like a boxer would start with a jab. That's Carlos's jab, is that kick. And Neil's doing such a good job just countering it right off the bat that it takes away his combination flow.
Condit starting to open up a little bit here with less than 2 minutes to go. But the clock continues to churn here. And in all likelihood, Condit's going to need a finish. Magny, just such a coachable athlete. You remember him on The Ultimate Fighter, didn't know how to use his length like this. Christian Allen has worked wonders. Elliot Marshall on the ground. Pretty impressive young man.
Nothing Magny hits you with is overwhelming, but it never stops. Out of all the fighters that you see inside the octagon, he's probably the best example of someone who never throws everything with 100% of his strength.
Yeah. We saw the polar opposite of that earlier tonight. And guys like Omari Akhmedov and Khalil Roundtree Jr.
The irony is he never gets tired. Maybe it's because he's not throwing everything he has.
100%.
So he's beating you with cardio.
Cardio and strategy.
Correct. Technique, of course. Right now, he's definitely out-strategizing Condit. I mean, they beat him with the pressure and in the clinch here. That's where the fight was won. And that's the best way to beat Condit. If you look in his past record, this is the best way to get him, is try to grapple him and smother him and defend his submission attempts.
Tremendous control on the ground by Magny. Yeah, very impressive.
Awesome fight by Magny. He showed what he was in this fight against a nasty veteran in Condit.
So Neil Magny continues to defy the odds. Carlos Condit had some moments in this one, certainly in that third round. But in all likelihood, the judges will see this one for Neil Magny. This fight replay is brought to you by Budweiser. this Buds for you.
And as we see here, this is where the fight was won. The underhook battle is won by Neil Magny, as he does with so many with those long arms, and he keeps getting these takedowns by sucking that body lock up, switching to double legs, switching to single legs, back to the body lock. I mean, he transitioned so well on the fence with the underhooks that he was just simply beating Carlos Condit in the clinch and then taking him to the ground and stalling out his submissions for the win. Very nice, savvy, professional win by Neil Magny. Fought very smart.
Two of the classiest guys in the game. Magny goes over to greet the Jackson Wink coaches, Brandon Gibson, and the crew in the corner of Carlos Condit. So the last time Condit had an extended layoff, he came out guns blazing and got Thiago Alves out of there in round 2. Different strokes here tonight as he got all he could handle from Neil Magny in this return from a near 500-day layoff. Magny in search of a 13th UFC win here tonight and an 8th as betting underdog. Pretty incredible stuff from the perpetual overachiever, Neil Magny. I say that with all due respect, right? Overachiever.
100%. I mean, the work rate was pretty even. It's the grappling that really made the difference for Magny in this one.
All right, the official decision is brought to you by Metro PCS, who brings you closer than ever to the UFC on a fast nationwide 4G LTE network. Here now, Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards for a decision. The judges scored the contest 30-27, 30-27, and 29-28 for the winner by unanimous decision, Neil Magny.
All right, I'm here with the winner, Neil Magny. First of all, Neil, congratulations on one of the most important victories of your career. Former interim champion in Carlos Condit, and a clear and dominant decision by you. How happy are you with this?
Oh man, this moment right now feels amazing. I thank all you guys for coming out and watching this fight. Thank for all my coaches and training partners for pushing me to get this far.
How much of the takedowns were in the strategy, preparing for this fight, and how much of it was just what you felt in the octagon?
So coming into this fight, I knew this would be super close, super even. I didn't know where I'd find an advantage. In the first round, I realized wrestling was that advantage, so I kept going for wrestling.
Well, listen, Neil, Carlos Condit is one of the best guys in the division. This is a huge victory for you. Where do you feel this puts you in this welterweight division, and what kind of opponent would you like to face next?
Oh man, I feel like this point's coming right back to go face one in the top 5, so I'm ready to go. Let's kick 2018 off with a bang.
Congratulations on an excellent performance. Neil Magny, ladies and gentlemen.